Well, good evening and welcome to the Land of Saints and Sinners live.
I know, it's quite exciting.
I know, I can't wait. We're all in green tonight.
I know, I'm in green with my little spangly
I feel
things.
a bit like David Attenborough, to be honest with you. Like,
Do
I've got
you?
the plants next to me here. That's your touch the plants, so, isn't it?
I love plants.
They need watering, all of them. They're a bit,
I have watered them, but they are looking a little bit
they need a bit of help, don't they?
wispy. Yeah.
Well, talking about help, we need a lot of help, don't we? Some of the well, I speak for myself.
Don't
I can't speak for you.
me.
I need a lot of help.
I'm fine, thank you.
I need a lot of help. So we are delighted tonight because it's been a while since we've done a live, actually, and we're rebranding in the new year. We've got a brand new kind of rebranding.
I know what it looks like. And I'm actually quite excited.
Hot. All I can say is hot. Yeah, it's hot, yeah. You might give them a sneak. Should we give them a sneak preview? Maybe. Our producer, by the way, I want to introduce our producer. It's Misty in the corner, so...
Well done.
Just want to check. Are we live? We are live.
We are live.
We got the green light. Well, we're so excited to have you tonight. I am Richie, and this is
Rogue.
And tonight we have a special guest on with us. He'll tell you a bit about himself in a moment. But maybe we should let our viewers know about questions or comments they want to ask tonight, because we're fielding questions tonight. Rogue and me, what are we doing?
Yeah. So tonight we're having a discussion, and we have. Can I tell who it is? Can I say who it is?
Not yet. Not yet. Let's talk about people who want to leave comments, and we've got a few comments already. Good evening, everyone.
Yo, to Stuart Jones.
Yeah.
Yo. Good evening.
Good evening.
So
just
good
for
to
more
see
people
everybody.
to jump on. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
That's good.
But I'm really excited about our guest.
Very smart tonight.
Thank you. But can I just talk about my guest? Our guest.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
I actually really like him. He's actually like a really, really beautiful person. Am I allowed to say man or woman?
Yeah, of course you can.
He's a beautiful man. He's got a heart of gold, and he is so intelligent. The intellect, I'm sure we've posted who we're doing it with anyway.
We have, yeah. I just didn't want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please welcome the one and only Paul Burgess.
Hi, everybody. What an intro that was.
Oh, wow.
No, you're not going to get it straightforward with us, are you?
No.
So, Paul, thank you so much for coming on. Hey, before we get started, did I say starting then?
You did. You said starting, and you meant started.
No, I've had too many cans of Coke today, I think.
I think you have.
I'm high on sugar. So, sorry, back to the show. So, Paul, I was going to say, do it then. Paul, introduce yourself. I know lots of our viewers will probably know who you are, but some may not. We're first-time people here. And by the way, if you're watching for the first time, thank you ever so much. Please hit that subscribe button, because by doing that, you show support to the show. Thank you very much. That's the hand over with. So, over to you, Paul. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an 80-year-old man who cares about the country. And I'm very, very upset about some things going on in the country, of course. I did a lot of stuff on radio in the past about immigration, all sorts of things. But in actual fact, I decided about 15 years ago to concentrate on one subject so I could have more impact. And that was climate change and the nonsense of the whole net zero thing. And so I campaigned on that. And that led me on to a lot of appearances on television, a lot of sort of lectures around the world. I've appeared in the committee room in the UK Parliament. I've been in the Romanian Parliament and things like that. So you get into all sorts of things doing what I do. I do it all. I don't get paid for any of this. I lose money doing all this. So there's no income. There's no fossil fuel people pay me or anything like that. It actually costs me all the time to do what I do. But I'm also got the great opportunity to join Advance UK, the new party. And in doing that, I've joined their college. And that's a college that works out policies with a lot of intelligent people, more intelligent than me maybe, who we can work together. And I thought, well, what a way to go out the world, because when you're 80, you're looking at the exit part. And so I want that.
He doesn't look 80. He's not 80.
I want that to be the most effective thing I can do is concentrate on getting really good policies out. So I'll give you an example. The next video I've got out, I'm just making the EPC certificates, the energy certificates for home and factories, voluntary instead of compulsory. And the saving to commerce can be 58 billion from just that, right? So I just work on lots of things like this. But I cover a wide range. And I've just done another paper tonight on, well, it wasn't tonight, but it was ready tonight, on cost of running an EV, which, by the way, is 47% more per mile if you use the superchargers out in public than it is to run a petrol or diesel.
How many papers do you write a day?
I don't write them like that. What it is I'll have a paper. Some of my paper, my longest paper is 6 months old. So I'll refine it over the 6 months. So I have, well, what happens is I get an idea, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'll come and I'll start it. And I'll start the idea. And then I'll just work at it. So what you're seeing at the moment, and frankly, I will tell you the truth, I had a trouble formatting PDFs. Which is how I present the final documents, and I couldn't get them to appear right. And I've only just solved that problem. So I had a whole batch of stuff that was ready to come out that I was able to produce quickly. So like now I'm working on even economics of the country, because I think I'll give you an example. I think it's possible to do things that'll make the economy really drive. And the most elastic, the most thing that if we can reduce the tax will give us more money, and we've got a history of that, is corporation tax. So that sounds like, oh, you're going to give money to the business. Well, you're not, because that comes into your cost of product. But if we take it down from 25 to 20%, that's a cost, an immediate cost, which more than pays for itself in 3 or 4 years. But how do we afford the interim cost? So then you've got to reduce something. And if you reduce net zero, more than pays for it and other things. So what you do is you get a plan, which I'm working on. So you see all this I'm working on now, but you haven't seen any papers on it. I'm working on that because I'm interested in the taxation system in the future.
Well, Paul, as well as being a renowned scientist, sounds like you're an economist as well, by the sounds of it. That's fantastic. Getting straight into it then, we want to talk a little bit about net zero, don't we?
We do.
The net zero madness. What's happening this week, Rogue? Something going on, a big conference.
The conference where they all go and pretend they care about
COP30, which is, I like to call it Con 30. It's one big.
I was going to go with Con 30, yes.
Yeah, we're wearing green tonight as well.
Right.
So
We are.
in line with the first question, which is about what? Net zero.
Net zero. Yeah.
It's a scam.
It is like, look, I want to know what Paul thinks about this.
Yeah.
I know it's a scam. You know it's a scam. The majority of us know it's a scam. But I have a question. Are there anybody out there that actually believe that this is genuine?
We'd like to hear from you if it's you. If you think net zero is a good policy, leave some comments, questions to our guest tonight, Paul Burgess, who is an expert in this field. Paul, you've done quite a bit on climate change and things like that. Does it exist? Is it real? Is it true? Is it a scandal?
Well, the net zero is a scandal and is a con. The COP meeting is a con. It's all about a world agenda, really, that. It's all about control. And if I had to look at COP30, any of the COP meetings, they're about a transfer of money from the developed world to the undeveloped world under a fraud. And really, that transfer of wealth is funny because the people you're transferring the wealth to who want it don't understand what wealth is, because wealth is actually the creation of it. It's not being given it. So you can give someone £100,000 and they'll squander it. That's meaningless. You've got to have an ability to create it. That's the real transfer. So funnily enough, what the net zero policies do is actually hinder the third world countries, because instead of them having cheap fossil fuels, they have to have very expensive intermittent energy that doesn't work for them. So, I mean, it's actually achieves the opposite of what they're after. But it's a con, not just at the slightest level. It's the biggest con probably there's ever been in human history.
Fantastic, Paul. Just a question here, because you read something today, didn't you, about the conference itself? We've got all these kind of, world leaders being there, champagne reception, caviar, all at the taxpayers' expense on private jets. But what did you find out as well? Because it's all about carbon, isn't it?
Yep, that 100,000 trees were taken down for the 8-mile run of a road coming up to where they needed to meet.
Yeah, can you get your breath, Paul? So the hypocrisy here, this is what it's about. Nick, Con 30 is one big hypocrisy. That's all it is, isn't it? Because they go in there, you've got is it Prince William? You've got Sadiq Khan. We always
I mean, why would he's the mayor of London, for God's sake? He's not international. It's London. Yeah, he's a mayor, and he has no say in net zero in that sense, really, or he shouldn't have. And he's going off on but he wants to mix with everyone. It's power and corrupt. It's corrupt power, and so they shouldn't be doing this. As regards the trees, we actually benefit from more CO2. So this idea that CO2 is in any way a pollutant is so wrong. But if you can convince people of that, and the World Economic Forum really started this, if they can control CO2, they control your life. You know, there's only, as everyone pretty well knows, there's only 420, 430 parts per million in the atmosphere. Yeah. Do you know what you breathe out as a human being?
I probably breathe a lot, though I'm Welsh, so I speak a lot. So I should imagine my CO2 levels are probably up there, Paul, compared to most.
420 in the atmosphere, and humans breathe out 40,000.
Wow.
40,000. Okay.
Wow.
So,
So
when I'm teaching people, I take a CO2 meter along, and as you're in a room, with people, the CO2 just rises and rises. Starts off normally about 600, normally ends up near 2,000. Yeah, because
we've got a question coming here, Paul. Rogue, do you want to ask this question coming up?
Yeah.
I need to get my glasses on.
She needs her eyes on. Yeah, we got that aging stage now. We need glasses.
So
it's up on the screen there.
Okay.
Yeah,
what's the net benefit of erecting wind energy to the electorate rather than the private companies that are subsidised to build them?
Good question. Good question, Stuart. Thank you.
What's the net benefit of erecting wind energy to? Well, there's no benefit. It's a huge cost. Let me explain something. If you look at wind droughts, now wind droughts are how many days below when the wind doesn't really blow. Now, if you halve the wind on a wind turbine, you reduce the amount of energy to 1/8. And if you take 40% of the wind, you're down to 6%. So at a very early level, like 10 miles an hour, pretty well, below that, you get nothing. So how often do we have periods like that? The answer is recently we've had 22 days. And there's no system that can back that up. There is none at all. If it was batteries, it would cost trillions, about 3.5, 4 trillion every 10 years. But you couldn't do, because if you try to buy the batteries, they go up in price because there aren't enough materials. So, and if you look at pump storage, as I've just done, instead of Norway and Norway supplying 9.1, you need tens of thousands. So none of it is viable. And all you have to do to prove this is multiply two numbers together. And so I do videos saying, this is crazy. No, why doesn't anyone look? They pretend things are what they want to be, not what they actually are.
Brilliant answer, Paul. Come to the next question.
So why are so many of these companies popping up? There must be an incentive for these private companies. Can you explain a standing charge? Yeah,
well, yes and no. Let me explain. The companies just react to profit motive, and that's right. That's how it should work. But if you're given subsidies like they're given, now let me explain it. Let me pretend I'm a wind farm person. Now I'm a wind farm person. I want to develop a wind farm. I'm guaranteed by the government an income. I'm guaranteed that income per kilowatt hour I produce, regardless of whether the customer needs it. So if I'm producing too much, now recently this summer, let's take solar. In this year, in the spring, we had a good spring. And actually, there's good scientific reasons for that now, because we're going to get better springs. But we had too much solar power already, and they're going to treble it. And we had to pay them to switch off. And so that's the first point. So you're paid regardless. You're guaranteed an income. And that's not controlled by gas price. That's a contract price. So the idea that gas prices control this is ridiculous. You're paying a home something like 28 pence a kilowatt hour for electricity. But if you've got a gas supply, the gas supply works out, the same unit per kilowatt hour works out about 6 pence. So gas is by far the cheapest at home, but it's also by far the gas and coal, by the way. And I'm a big advocate of reintroducing coal. And I've done a paper on that as well. So because
Paul, can I just quickly jump in there, because we were talking about the cost of living today, weren't we, and the price of energy. I mean, it's massive, isn't it?
We here in the UK, it is the most expensive in the world that we are paying for our energy prices.
Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
To be exact, we're not the most expensive, because there's some tiny little islands with something. Well, to qualify it, we're the most expensive in the developed world, and the grown up. Right. So, and that is crippling us. I mean, so in Port Talbot, we export 2,800 jobs gone. Yes. Now, the funny part in Port Talbot is we're going to be a subsidized arc furnaces driven by electricity instead of coal. Yeah, driven by electricity. And those are going to have to use the most expensive electricity in the developed world, which means the business has had it before it begins. Yes, the only government could be that stupid. And so, another stupid thing is carbon capture. Recently, this last few months, they've announced, there's altogether a £22 billion budget, but it's over a number of years, that. But they're putting in 800 odd million into North Wales and the Northwest to bury CO2. Is that all it does? It buries CO2. So it's costing 800 odd million a year, and they say we have 800 jobs. It's over £1 million per job. So even the office cleaner or the chief executive, on average, it's £1 million per job to do nothing but bury something, which the whole world put back in place in 39.5 hours. So we're spending £800 million a year, every year, and the total budget is 22 billion to bury things that make no difference at all.
Crazy. I think it should be called Nut Zero instead of Net Zero, Paul, with the sounds of that. It's crazy. I mean, Ed Miliband's crazy anyway. We all know that. I think we all agree and say yes and amen to that. He's an absolute nut job. Remember that video of him?
I was about to say, did you see the video of him? He had his guitar. And he was singing a song about net zero. It's like, get over yourself, mate.
And he's telling you that wind was 9 times cheaper. And I've got a video where I have a whole lot of politicians, including Boris, a whole lot of politicians, 9 times cheaper, 9 times cheaper, 9. Whenever it's 9 times cheaper, why have you got the most highest electricity prices? And that damages the entire economy. And it's as simple as this. When we create, wealth wasn't really created until we got the Industrial Revolution going. And we were crippled by the lack of energy. We had windmills, by the way, and we had water power with wheels, but we had the intermittent power, and we had it very, what we call low density. So when the Industrial Revolution came in, it enabled coal to be used to drive machines where one person could do 100 people's jobs, basically. And that is what creates wealth. It doesn't stop wealth, it actually creates wealth. And so there was a lot of opposition from the people who are apparently losing their jobs, but the net effect of it was everyone became wealthier. Yes. And that's really important to understand. So there's lots of work being done on how much energy controls the economy. Now we're in a doom loop at the moment on the economy. It's going to get worse after the budget. And there's going to be an economic crash.
Rachel Thieves, we call it, don't we?
Rachel Thieves.
Not Rachel McCount, Rachel Thieves. Not Rachel Reeves, Rachel Thieves.
I mean, she's looking for, it's like someone is really in trouble. Yeah. And so they take out another credit card to pay off that one. We don't even manage that. We take out another credit card and borrow money to 80% of what we borrow is to pay the interest on the other one. So we don't even pay the credit cards off. We're worse than a person.
So a couple more questions coming in, Paul. We just want to get through these questions because we're going to move on to the next topic in 2 months. I know you can talk all night about this. You're such an expert.
Like you.
I love listening to you. I could sit and listen to you for hours and hours. So we can agree it's Nut Zero, not Net Zero.
Absolutely not.
So 1 or 2 more questions, though. Shit zero, as you call it.
Yeah. So how on earth did we end up paying for these companies to not produce electricity? How did it get to this point?
Very simple. And so I'll keep it short this time. No one would build a wind farm if they weren't guaranteed to have that, because they wouldn't be able to produce enough power. And so the only way they will do it is if they're guaranteed these subsidies. So if I said to somebody, give me something that is too expensive, but I'm going to guarantee you that money regardless. Yes. The equivalent of it was in the EU. I mean, the EU, farmers in the east of the country in the east of UK were stripping out hedges because no matter what crop they produced, they were guaranteed the money for it above their cost of production. So that's like saying, I'm going to open a factory, I'm going to make widgets, and the government's guaranteeing me the money for the widgets, and it's guaranteeing me a profit. Well, every company is going to expand like that. And so it's totally artificial, totally fake. And without the subsidy, it doesn't happen. Without the subsidy, it doesn't happen at all.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Paul. That's a great answer. We need to move on because of time, because we've got an hour of this show, Paul, an hour, right? So we wanted to talk. Don't apologize. Never apologize.
No,
always. You better off asking for forgiveness than permission, Paul. Right? That's the best way to do it, my friend. Thank you for all the comments. Keep them coming in. Can we ask those viewing if you can share the broadcast with your social media friends, platforms, on Facebook, if you're on any social media, please share it, Rogue. And why should they share it?
Because we're just amazing, and everybody needs to hear. I don't know why I sing, but everybody needs to hear Paul. Everybody needs to hear Paul and what he has to say, because we are trying to make people aware of what is happening. And it is a shit zero, nut zero.
That's what it is.
Scam zero. We are literally living under
it has been for years.
Yeah, exactly. Control is huge, and this is really the agenda. But then we have to ask the question, and I have had this question asked many, many a time, Paul. Why do they want to control us? What is their main agenda?
It's a bit early in the evening for that.
No,
straight for it.
I'm going straight in there. I need to know the nitty gritty.
You're going for the juggler. You're going for the juggler.
Right there.
I mean, we normally warm up to that, but you've gone straight for it. Like, no messing about it. But she was on fire tonight because she came into the studio. She came into the studio with this on, right? And when she wore this in the studio, I thought she means business tonight. But this woman means business tonight, right? I thought it was like Boris Yeltsin or something from Moscow. But there we go. When she wore that into the studio and she walked in all glammed up, I thought, we're in for a great show tonight. I knew it. I could sense it. Your vibe was so energetic
it's
tonight.
Strong, and I want to know what Paul has got to say.
Okay, sorry about that.
What's
Paul,
the
over to
answer?
you. Paul.
Why do they want to control us?
Yeah.
The same reason that Hitler wanted to control the world, the same reason that Stalin killed 20 million people when he enforced community farms in Russia, mainly in Ukraine, actually, at that time, so in the Soviet Union. So when people do these things, it's hard for normal people like us to understand. It's very difficult to understand. But power corrupts. And I wish I could understand it. That's the most difficult question I can be asked.
Yeah, brilliant, Paul.
You've really done it there, in asking that question, because I can't understand how evil people are. I really can't. And I can't understand how people, like in my world, I get cancelled everywhere I go. And I have governments cancelling a visit to a school where all I was going to do was talk about science, not even climate, and so on. So why are these people doing this? Well, they're nuts. I mean, in the end, you just have to say they're nuts. But there's also an evil element to this, I'm afraid. That's the only thing I can say.
Okay. It's all right. I'm just looking at the next question.
She needs to keep her brain warm.
Well, that's not a question. That's a statement. Yeah.
Give him much for that.
I need to keep my brain. I do actually.
Well, it's winter anyway.
It is winter, and I need to keep my brain, my hair, because my hair goes wild as well.
It's your birthday soon.
It is my birthday soon. Yeah.
Next week.
I'm going to be 50.
You're not. No way. Right. I want some comments here. Do you think she's going to be 50 next week? Let's be honest. You're not.
I am.
I've known you for 31 years, right? I know how old you are. And I don't think you're 50 next week.
Well, I am. Anyway.
Right, moving on.
I always say to people who are 50 next week, I always say, great, you've had your 50, you're in your 51st year now.
Brilliant. That's one way of looking at it.
I always upset people. When I say that to a 12-year-old, they're in their 13th year now. They love it. When you say it to a woman past 30, they don't like it at all. Right?
This is true. So we have to be careful in what we say.
Yeah, she's only in her 30s.
Otherwise, she'll be grounded, Paul. Grounded and put on the naughty step.
We've got lots of questions on this, but we're going to need to move on. So we're going to come on to the news that Trump has gone to war with the BBC. This is over the BBC reporting actually of what happened at the Congress building, I believe, when during his presidency or his campaign to be the next president of the United States of America, he incited hatred or caused the hate for those people to go down to Congress, I believe it was, to smash the place up and everything else. Do you remember that?
I do. It wasn't a great time for good old Trump, was it? Now, the problem was with the BBC, they had misconstrued. Oh, there's lots of problems. There's Jimmy Savile, one of them. But, what happened was there's
loads of people going on there.
Hello, can I talk?
Oh, sorry, darling. Yeah.
Do you want to fight?
Later, yeah.
Okay. So there was this edit where there was 50 minutes apart from where he talked about hell and making things hell, and also talked about like a war. So there were two separate things that they put together and merged to make him look like he was inciting hate. This was not the case. So BBC, via the Panorama, have been exposed in how they have presented Trump. Now, Trump is going to war with the BBC. Now, we're all silently or
At war with the
effectively
BBC.
going to the war with the BBC because of what they stand for, because of what they represent. But not only what they represent, the charges that they
Yeah, a TV
induce
license.
onto exactly the
It's
TV
ridiculous.
license we have to pay. And actually, they support paedophiles
Uh-huh.
and they support many, many things which are propaganda
Yeah.
and lies. So why are we supporting them?
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous when you think about the stuff the BBC are producing, and it's so biased. I mean, it's called the British Bashing Corporation, Sly News. All the mainstream media outlets are really dying. Legacy media is on its way out. I mean, one of the things we are learning more and more, aren't we, Rogue, is that independent journalists like young Bob we mentioned, Tommy Robinson, there's many out there, Dan Woodton, all these new shows that have been created outside of mainstream media, they're having an impact, aren't they?
Yeah. I've got somebody here saying BBC are full of shite and just love a good cover-up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And regarding the BBC issue, ask their BBC Verify.
Oh, yeah, BBC Verify. Well, remember when they didn't verify what the Hamas leader's son? They did a documentary with him on there. I mean, and then they had to pull it from iPlayer. I mean, it's an absolute joke. But we want to go back to the issue with Donald Trump. Now, I like Donald Trump. We like Donald Trump, don't we?
I think he's great.
I think he's great.
Not everybody likes him.
It's not everyone's cup of tea, is he?
Do you like him, Paul?
I like him on balance. I'd give him 9 out of 10. Okay.
That's
And
good.
so I wish we had him. Let me put it that way. And
Yeah.
I hope he really damages and finishes off the BBC because they need finishing off.
They do.
That's it. So, I mean, I'm totally on side with him against the BBC. Terrible organisation.
Well, he's taken CNN to task. He's taken Fox News to task. All of these American mainstream media outlets that are absolutely biased. Yeah, you know, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to work all this out.
No.
And I think what's happening, Paul, it'd be true to say that people are turning to alternative media, podcasts, for example, Joe Rogan, and many others out there. I mean, our wonderful friend Paul Thorpe and many others as well. We've been on their shows. We were on with Rich Donaldson last night from the Great British Protest.
Well, I always say protest or strike because we're now moving into strike.
We are, yeah.
We're moving into strike, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
So what's your thoughts around the whole BBC thing, Paul? I know that you've mentioned a few things before, but in relation to the reporting of the campaign that President Trump had, that they believe led to some of the violence that was seen in Congress as a result of some of his comments.
I just hope Trump uses every muscle, every possible way of hurting the BBC and bringing it down. That's my thought. I don't want the BBC as it is to exist. I want, if they want to carry on, stop being able to tax people and send all these threatening letters to people, etc. Stop all that and just pay your way. My God, would that would be a huge shock to them if they had to actually pay their way. And that's the only model, I think, for the future. So, I mean, the government like it because they've got a way of getting a message through without challenge, as it were. But the whole mainstream media. The other thing is Advance UK as a party hasn't been able to get on the mainstream media.
Yeah,
Everything's been done outside the mainstream media. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one night when Tommy Robinson phoned me up and said, you know, he was really worried. And he said, you know, they've got a hit job on me coming up on Panorama. And I explained it to me. And I said, we need to do something. Yes, I've got this, I've got that, I've got these recordings. And I said, we'll call it Panodrama. That's what I enabled it, Panodrama.
Panodrama.
And you know what they'd done there, he stopped it. He a great man. He managed to stop it. You know, he did his own video with the people, but he managed to stop it. And that was great, absolutely great. I was there at the outside Manchester, BBC Manchester studios when he showed that film and everything. So it was really good. So we've got to forget the mainstream media. You know, they're corrupt. I'm afraid, I mean, since I'm on Advance UK, I'm no longer on GB News. Maybe other reasons, I don't know. But I used to be on almost every week for a year. And then bang, you're off. Well, that happens in media, of course. So maybe no connection. But now I promote Advance UK. I've got no chance of being on.
Talk about cancel culture there, Paul. I mean, we've experienced it. You haven't, and we've seen it with Ben as well, Ben Habib. I mean, it's rampant, isn't it? Because what do they call people who support Advance UK? We are
the far right thugs, fascists.
They're
anything and everything that they just want to.
So what is a far right then? What if you're far right? What does it mean? I mean,
it means you believe in your country. It means that you stand up for what you believe in. It means that you actually have an opinion on something that actually opposes what the government want you to believe.
So you're not far right. You're just right then.
Exactly that.
The only
I like to think I'm right.
The only times I've had really physical threats and so on is when I was talking about 15-minute cities. Once in Swansea, actually, when I got surrounded by mass people. And my subject was 15-minute city, and the police had to come in between. And the other time was in Swindon, when I was going to talk. Well, I just was going to talk about 15-minute city at a stand, and the bloke threw a table at us all. He picked it up and threw it with all the contents.
What?
And I had him prosecuted. And he was a member of Stop Oil. He was the same chap who did the first painting, paint daubing over the paintings in the art gallery in London. So I had him. He got, I think, a 10-month suspended sentence and a fine, but he's got a criminal record now. So, I mean, the only time he's on a 15-minute city. Why can't I discuss a 15-minute city without being attacked? And that is a bad situation, isn't it? And by the way, they're the ones, if you look at the characteristics of what far right is, like the Nazis, they're the ones who refuse to discuss. They're the ones who refuse to debate. They're the ones who use violence. All that's coming from the left. It ain't coming from anyone. I don't see it as left and right, but it ain't coming from anyone with sensible policies.
Exactly that.
But I'm going to ask Rogue a question here, Paul, because it's burning in me, because one of our viewers has asked this question, so I want to post this to her, Rogue, because you've done some research on this. Let me just find it. Here it is. Here's the question. While Farage has a stake and a vested interest in GB News, none of us involved with Advance UK will get any airtime.
This is true.
I'm not sure he has a big interest. I don't know what, because I think it's.
Well, we did some research, Paul. Let me just run this by.
I've got evidence, Paul. I have evidence.
Go on.
I don't.
Okay, so Farage has a side company called The Thorn in the Side. Now, I always think that's quite an interesting name to be calling your company, The Thorn in the Side. Well, he actually is that to Ben and to us. Now, he has a massive stake in GB News.
Yeah.
And because of that, because it has literally become the Farage show, Ben is not getting any airtime. And that is actually quite distressing, because actually there needs to be this kind of like level of balance and fairness. You know?
I think the last time Ben was on was one with Martin Dubney, and he talked about him starting Advance UK, a brand new political party that was democratic, unlike any other political party. And that was the last time he was on GB News. And he, like Paul, was a regular contributor. He was on very regular on all kinds of issues. And then it was a complete silence. Talk TV the same. Mainstream media, we know why they're not covering us, because they won't be able to ignore us with over 40,000 members, and it's going up and up and up. Ben's voice will be heard. I mean, we've got a massive thing happening in Wales at the end of this month as well, haven't we?
Can I say it?
Yeah, you can say it.
We've got our Wales launch, and we are very, very excited because it's our first ever South Wales launch.
South Wales, Mid Wales, North Wales, because
we're going to have 3 launches. Yeah, Wales is such an elongated country.
It is massive.
And we literally have got to do it in sections. So we've got the Mid, the South, and the North. And because the North and the South divide is really there, you know, we're going to have to... It's a different kind
of Welsh as well.
It is.
Siarad Cymraeg in North Wales is different as well. So forgive me, all you North Walians. But going back to Farage there, Farage is obviously doing very well in the polls in Wales, doing very well nationally. But if you look at all the councillors that got elected at the council elections, they're imploding, they're falling apart. So they're all right winning campaigns, but not good at governing, are they?
No. So look, somebody here has said, I'm going to pop this up so we can all talk about this, because it's absolutely right. The BBC, ITV, and even now GB News are all part of the establishment. They are all scared of Advance UK. What do you think, Paul?
Well, they are. They're all scared of it. And, you know, that's a fact. And I just don't know how they can sleep at night, because they call themselves journalists, and they're not journalists. They don't go about this honestly. You know, I've witnessed it. I've seen it. As regards Farage, you know, I've had my own run-ins way back, you know, before Brexit with Farage. And what I think it's very good, by the way, that Reform are getting a good presence in Wales. I think that's really good, because Reform supporters are our supporters, are Advance UK supporters, because what they're supporting, it's an anti-Labour and Conservative move. Right, and it's that. Unfortunately, some of them recently saw that as a Plaid move, which is, you know, I don't think they understand the policies, is all I can say. But so the more Reform supporters there are in a way, and until we get registered and going, as it were, the better, because those people are exactly our people.
Brilliant. That's a good answer. Well, we've got more questions coming in, but Paul, we want to move on because we wanted to discuss what was the other topic. Can you remember? We did write it down, but then we got into the studio a bit late, didn't we? Because you were making a cup of tea.
I always make a cup of tea before I go.
Yeah. And drink it in the car as well.
I do. Yeah.
Rogue spill. That's what I call it. Rogue
Andrew was one of them.
Thank you.
Right, Andrew said, Richard, you're forgiven. Thank you for that, whatever that means, but I appreciate that. All forgiveness is welcome. Someone else has said, oh, 1 second. Nobody says, oh, by the way, Prince Andrew.
Yeah, what else was there? We have a producer sat in the corner and she's supposed to keep us on check. And she's waving at us and waving at you all. So
come and say hi to the folks. This is Miss D. Should we keep it a secret for now?
Miss D, you can be a secret tonight.
Come and say hi to secret tonight, is it?
Secret tonight,
no
but you
problem.
can come and say hello next time.
Okay, we want to move on then because we want to cover a lot of things tonight and we want to talk about Prince Andrew. Don't particularly want to talk about him, do we?
Not really. The man that doesn't sweat. That does sweat.
Yeah, that's the one.
That does sweat. That has
He's got an illness, but he doesn't sweat. I think he sweated in that interview, though, didn't he? The BBC, unless he took some sweat blockers.
I don't know.
Like,
I think
I don't
he
know.
probably did. But I just think, obviously King Charles
Charlie
has basically stripped him of everything, even
has he, though?
His registration plate.
Has he really, though?
Yes.
Really?
His registration plate. But in America, he's going to be investigated.
He's being subpoenaed to court, isn't he?
Absolutely. So is Charles doing it as a precursor because he knows what's coming? Or is it because he had that demand to go to America?
Question for you: why wasn't this exposed when Her Majesty was alive? It's interesting.
Well, it was.
Well, it was, but they didn't.
They denied it, so it was all exposed. It was then denied, and quite frankly, it was obvious.
What do you think of King Charles? You're not a monarchist, are you?
I'm not. No. I love this. Ray has put not a prince or HRA, just a nonce.
Just a nonce.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Paul, what's your thoughts on Prince Andrew being a nonce?
Yeah, I'd say he is. I actually think the monarchy in the form of the king and Mark, that they are actually getting involved in politics, which is really, really bad. And they haven't learned the lesson that Queen Elizabeth learned, and so on. I think I empathize. I empathize with any view anti-monarchist but the trouble is, it's a bit like democracy. It's, as Winston Churchill said, it's a terrible system. Democracy is just the best of the lot. And the same way, I actually thought about the question today when I knew the subject was coming up, about what do I think about the monarchy at all. And I actually had to conclude the monarchy is still the best system, although I don't like the people in it, I'm afraid, but it's still the best system because we could end up with a president like David Lammy otherwise, and that would really upset me.
Talking about David Lammy, that's a good point, actually. Good juncture there, isn't it? What do you think of David Lammy?
I actually did a video the other day. I actually have wondered if anybody has seen Diana Abbott and David Lammy in the same room, because if you put a wig on him and glasses, they are twins, and that is no word of a lie. And I want to know if they actually are the same person.
Your brother and sister?
Are they Desmond Tutu's love child?
Oh, that's a possibility.
They could be, but I don't know what's going on here.
Paul, have you got a hotline to Desmond Tutu? Is he still alive? Is
he
still alive? Desmond Tutu? No. I don't know if he is he?
No.
Deb, is he still alive? Can you?
To heaven.
Can you put a call? No, our researcher's in the corner there. She's just Googling. Can you just do an AI quickly, see if Desmond Tutu's alive? My apologies.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. God bless you, sir. So David Lammy then, he apparently let out prisoners early, or they escaped. Remember that story? I mean,
I can't deal with it.
It's not even funny, is it? I mean, we laugh and joke a lot, but that is serious because these men and dog males coming over here, we've talked about it a lot, I know, and we covered it on this show when we do on TikTok. By the way, we're on TikTok as well, so make sure you check it out. I say we're on TikTok. We're on TikTok.
I'm on TikTok.
She loves it. You love doing TikTok. Yeah, because it's kind of hard hitting straight to the point. But the censorship on there is just crazy. This is why we started doing some of these lives as well. And we want more and more people to. So hit the subscribe button as well. Don't forget, we'd love you to follow the channel. We're going to be a lot more of these, more guests, more interviews as well. So David Lammy, Paul, what are your thoughts on David Lammy?
I feel sorry for him. He's intellectually challenged, to put it bluntly. And,
it's true.
And he's been put into a position because of the incredible socialist sort of system where people like him froth to the top and are completely out of his depth, completely. And it's terrible to watch. If you saw him in the Commons not answering a question this week, it was absolutely terrible. And but I've always known that he's completely out of his depth. And you know, and to be the Justice Minister is just absurd, just absurd. I've just seen yesterday a bar graph of the number of accidental releases of prisoners, and it's been going on for a few years until you get to the government. Then the bar is like this; it's up here, yeah. So there's actually been, I think, 9 or 10 so far. You know, it's I've forgotten the exact number, but I know this year it's gone wild. And I'm thinking, are they doing it on purpose? You know, who's running the prisons here?
Exactly.
I don't know.
And for the people that have had the trauma, you know, of whatever crime they've committed, to then be knowing that they've come out is actually quite frightening. The trauma that comes with it. Again, I talk about a lot of the emotional side of things because, you know, if somebody has done some wrong to me, they go into prison and then they've just been let out by mistake. So we have no safeguarding, we have no protection, and yet this guy is now out. What's going to happen next? Well, we've seen, you know, the stabbings. There was the guy that did the stabbings on the train. He actually in Uxbridge, he had done another stabbing or an incident the day before. No, it was the day before. But even there was the barbers. And there was another young boy that he threatened the day before, and he had mental health issues. And the police knew about it. But what they are doing is being so lackadaisy, you know, that we are actually suffering because they just aren't taking control of the streets. And it's not okay, because when people, like I said, and I will say it again, you know, if I have had wrong done to me, and then they have been put away, and then they're let out by accident. I mean, I saw David Lammy say, I couldn't believe it. He just said, you know, it's okay for it to be a mistake. No, it's not okay for it to be a mistake. What the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, and I think as well, you've got to take into account that we got 15,000 approximately foreign nationals in our prisons that shouldn't be here. And we talk about overpopulation in the prisons. And to end that, all you need to do is deport the lot of them, send them back.
No,
wherever they come from.
The whole objective of this government, from the Home Secretary now with signs, immigrants welcome, all of them are playing a game with immigration. They know their policies have no effect. They don't want it to have an effect. They actually support immigration, and even, you know, I'm talking about illegal immigration as well. But don't forget, Boris let $1 million in on the legal immigration, so you know, completely wrong. And people don't understand the effects. One of the things I've been on about, I used to go on radio a lot about this years ago, was the infrastructure. If you increase the population, immigration's increased our population since 2000 by 9.7%. Yeah, but that means the sewage, and because the sewers haven't been made any bigger, and that's one of my areas, I'm afraid, and so the overflows into the river cause more pollution because the infrastructure's not been put there. So when you've got to consider putting in all the roads, all the hospitals, all the factories, everything in a city the size of Cardiff, and you're having that arrive every 18 months as it used to be, it's even worse now sometimes, we can't put the infrastructure in. And so the effect everywhere is enormous. And particularly, of course, the most noticeable one for people is housing, but it occurs everywhere, even in sewers.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about housing there, Paul. I mean, we know that there's a huge housing crisis in the country. When we're coming up to Remembrance Sunday now, tomorrow, which many of us will be celebrating there, the cenotaph, there'll be hundreds of thousands of people that will show there and pay their respects. One of the things that we get angry about at the Land of Saints and Sinners is the treatment of our veterans, Rogue, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen so many veterans who have suffered because they can't get the right treatment, they can't get housing, they're on the streets, you know, and it is just so soul destroying. Today we met a veteran, actually. We went into a little town and we were looking to see how many poppies were around and if people were selling the poppies. And, you know, there weren't anybody selling poppies, but there had been like a little team of women who had been knitting poppies and putting them on top of the post boxes. So beautiful. And we sat down with this guy who was just sat there and taking in the sunshine and watching, you know, the world go by. And we just thanked him for his service. And he basically said something which totally took me by surprise. And I don't know about banning on here, but I know on TikTok
I think it started with asking him. You asked him, I think, what do you think of the state of the country? And he said it's a shit show. What's happening?
I said, look, tell me about Keir Starmer. He said, I don't want to talk about him. He's an absolute moron, a complete imbecile. And then I said to him, okay, you know, so where did you serve? And then he talked about serving in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And then he said about the illegal immigration and that it was affecting him. And I know somebody's just said actually about, you know, if we keep on talking more and more about the illegal immigration, then we're actually playing into the hands of the WEF. Understood. And I get that, what you're saying. But the truth is, it is still happening and we are suffering. And this particular gentleman, this veteran, turned around and said,
am I going to, you queued me up for that.
I have, yeah.
Well, what he said was, and by the way, we don't encourage this here. He said, when I served in the Middle East, I wish I'd shot a lot more people. I mean, not my words, his, right? So I know it's a bit harsh. We don't advocate that, Paul, do we? But we get his sentiment because what he was saying was, look, as a result of me serving, I don't know what the sacrifice was about. The gentleman on ITV and Good Morning Britain today, actually, that veteran, he broke down in tears, didn't he?
Yeah.
You've seen that video, showed me, didn't you?
He was mortified, and he just said, why did I fight? What did I fight for? You know, this country has turned to shit. And, you know, here I am watching what we did, how we did it. I've lost all my friends, you know, and my family. And here we are. Everything that we had fought for is happening. What for? You know, and it's madness. So somebody's just said here now, and Paul, I'd like to know your thoughts on this. I will keep saying this. They are not asylum seekers, illegal immigrants, etc. They are UN WEF soldiers. And one of these days, they will get deployed against the British people.
That worries me greatly. I mean, I think there's a lot of validity in that remark. It does worry me greatly. They're all young fighting age men. I mean, 98% anyway. So, I mean, that is worrying. Look, when we talk about our country, we don't have a country. Because unless you've got a boundary, unless you've got, you know, a protected zone, that's a country. We don't have that. And we have leaders who pretend, because when the government came in and said they're going to crack the gangs, everyone knew that was meaningless, right? So they just use on excuses, because the very people, our prime minister used to keep, you know, real serious criminals in the country. That was his job. You know, and so this is right the way through our structure in the blob, as it were, in the civil service, but it's right the way through our parliament. And we've got a parliament now that won't even allow any cuts in spending because of their mad socialist type communist approach, which is going to cripple us. And there's going to be a huge economic, it's going to be an economic disaster. And let me tell you something, the International Monetary Fund won't be able to help because we're only allowed to claim back 3 times more in emergency than we put in. And we put in 14 billion so far, so we could get 42 billion. It won't touch the sides of our problem. So we're heading for an economic crash. And it's like watching a train crash where you know that train is going at full speed and accelerating into the station. And the people who are driving it can't understand this. That's what we're in. Sorry.
Yeah.
No,
it's great, Paul. That's why you're on.
Ray has just said, Paul, you're bang on, absolutely bang on, and that's just so important that we all are, you know, sort of understanding what's happening. Someone has put here, and I think this is for you, Richie. Is it Advance UK or is Advance UK to revoke the ILR? I haven't got my glasses on. Can you say to all those who entered the country illegally during the last 10 years or so, irrespective of whether ILR was granted or pending?
Right. Is it ILR? I'm not very good with abbreviations, so you have to forgive me on that. But the question is on illegal people entering illegally. So I may get to the question, granted or pending. I think, Paul, at the moment, and Paul can speak to this as well because we're on the college together. There's a policy, we're in the middle of drawing a lot of policies because we want to be different from any other political party. We want to get things right at the start. And the framework and the legality around any policy will be supported by that legal framework so we can get it through without any hassle on day one when we come into power.
Indefinite leave to remain.
Oh, definitely remain. Of course, I think Ben has made it very clear, Paul, hasn't he, on several occasions that there will be immediate deportations. So there'll be no ifs, buts, or maybes. That is absolutely going to be part of Advance UK's, part of our mission statement, you know, because we believe in the democratic right of us as people, and we voted to leave the European Union, first of all, and to have our borders secured. And we don't have secured borders. We have an open border policy that's crippling our country, that is changing our country beyond all recognition. And so the first thing we need to do in government is to shut the borders immediately and deport those who are here illegally. And that is the minimal start, I think, Paul, isn't it?
Totally minimal. That I totally agree with it. I actually had booked Ben for an interview on my video channel, my YouTube channel, and before he launched Advance UK, and it was about the Thursday or Friday. And then he was going to be on the Tuesday or Wednesday. I forgot the exact days. And in between that, he launched the party, and I joined it. And because I'd always said on my channel, I'll never join another political party. So he made me break my word, to everybody. But I then did a follow-up interview with him where I said, look, you can't escape it. Some of the things you've said do determine policies. You can't escape from the principles policies. Yes. And so we know net zero has got to go. And I want to make sure it goes in every aspect. That means in education, in all sorts of areas, And by the way, I've worked out the cost of that if we didn't have it in the region of £200 billion a year.
Yeah? Wow. That's a lot of money.
Because that includes the opportunity cost. And an opportunity cost in economics is simply, if you have an insurance job and your factory burns down, or you're crippled and you can't work for a while, then the actual opportunity is lost. The opportunity to work is lost. So the insurance pays you because in the car accident you've been disabled for a while. Yes, in the same way the economy works. So the economy is disabled by huge energy prices, and so lots of studies are being done how you can relate energy costs to how the economy is, how healthy. And it can't be healthy. And the same big lie as the immigrants, by the way, is green jobs. It's the same lie, totally the same lie. So they've called the 800 jobs in North Wales burying CO2 green jobs, but they're taking away £1 million per job every year. And that £1 million coming from where it could be actively put in the economy, producing wealth. And that's really got to be understood. So I'm so looking forward to developing policies inside the Advance UK College. I really am looking forward to that. And that's why what's happening now is they've done lots of policies in the past and lots of things in the past. And I'm just bringing them up now. I can't keep up with my own thoughts on it.
So in regards to policy, or, sort of finding a way in which direction the Advance is going, there's a question here which says, will Advance close all the mosques?
Well, we can't answer that because we don't have that policy yet. But I could give you my views.
Yeah, please give us your views.
My views are, I believe in freedom of speech, and that's absolute foundation. But that freedom of speech has to be protected. We don't have that. So I am not anti-Muslim. But I am and I've lived in Islam countries, by the way. I've lived in Saudi Arabia. I did 2 tours as a young engineer, and I was treated very well. So I'm not anti-Muslim, but I'm really against a religion that is killing people in huge quantities, Christians, in 12 countries. I'm really against a religion that chucks gays off buildings, and I'm really against a religion that says anyone who leaves that religion, apostates, that they become criminals and are to be executed. So I have to be honest on all of that. So you have to face that. I'm also against, I'm not a willy-nilly animal lover or anything. I do like animals, but I don't want any religion telling us how to slaughter animals cruelly. So I would, if it was my view, and this is just my views I'm giving, I would ban halal and any other religions and meat, including kosher, if it meant killing the animal inhumanely, and so on. I would do that. I would certainly ban covering your face. I would do what other countries have done on the hijab and so on. I would do those things. So I would clearly lay out a foundation whilst allowing people individual freedom to choose what religion they like, including Islam. But Islam cannot be what it is set out to be. And don't forget, in the Quran, and I've read it, in the Quran, it lays out how you take over a country. When you get to this percentage, you do this. When you get to that percentage, you do that with the block vote. It's all laid out. And so that really concerns me, yes. So I don't want this pretense that that happens. I was on an LBC show one night on the radio when I brought this up, and the interviewer allowed me to do it allowed me to run with it against a Muslim who I got him to admit this and admit this and admit that, and the interviewer was sacked a week later.
I hope I don't get the sack.
No, you're not going to get the sack. Richard, can you answer that question?
Which one is that?
About will advance UK close all of the mosques. What do you think?
Well, as Paul said, we're still creating policies, but I agree with Paul. The problem isn't so much Muslims, it's the Islamification of our country. And any religion that Paul has mentioned that has within its doctrine, which is unchangeable, by the way, because they believe the Quran to be the word of God, unchangeable. So in other words, there's no room for debate. Yeah. We don't have that in our democracy, our culture. And the religion of Islam is not compatible with Western culture. Correct. It doesn't respect our history. It has a warped understanding of who we are as individuals. And some of the moral compass around, very important issues for us as people. And let's remind ourselves, we are, whether we're practicing Christians or not, our country was developed and built upon a Christian constitution. And that is absolutely opposed to the teaching of Islam. I mean, there's real doubts over the very existence of Muhammad anyway. If you look at some of the late great scholars that we've had over the years, we were watching one a couple of weeks ago, and he ripped apart the whole kind of history of Muhammad. He never even visited Mecca, if you look at the historical record. So there is doubt cast over the actual character and the actual movements of the so-called Prophet Muhammad. That's, you can argue and debate that, and that's fine. But I think the key issue here is what Paul has mentioned. How can you practice a religion in this country that says gays should be stoned to death or thrown off buildings? How can you advocate for child marriage at the age of 12? How can you allow these things to happen? They're not just compatible, they're evil, in my opinion. And they should not be promoted. They should not be, put out into our country. And yet we have our education system being infiltrated, our parliament being infiltrated now. We have people going in swearing on the Quran, not the Bible. That shouldn't be happening because, of course, it doesn't uphold our Christian constitution. And let's be quite frank, our king doesn't. He's now the defender of faiths. He's multi-faiths. He's not into, the Christian nation anymore. And we need to hold on to that because it's our identity. It's who we are as people. It doesn't make us better than anybody, but it makes us a democratic country. And Western culture and Western democracy is the best levers we have, really. It's not perfect, as Winston Churchill said, but it's the levers that we have as people that goes back to tomorrow's celebration. People give their lives for it. They died in 2 world wars so we could have the right to vote and the freedom to do that and live in a democratic society. And Islam is not compatible with that.
Totally agree. Islam is basically against democracy, full stop. And therefore, the only way you can cope with that as a Muslim is to not follow it properly. To be sort of pretend, right? And believe me, when I was in Saudi Arabia, where alcohol's banned, where meat's banned, pork's banned, I watched a man being flogged for selling Wall's pork bacon in the wrappers, and so on. So, but at the same time, they were doing it, and at the same time, I did know that a lot of there were 5,000 princes when I was there in the 60s and 70s, and there were 5. Last time I was there was 69 actually, and there were lots of princes, and they were going over to Egypt and having young girls and so on. So it's part of that culture, and it's not our culture. And the other thing I'd like to say on that, but I'll finish on this, is not all cultures are equal, and let's not pretend that. Because I've sailed around the world and spent lots of times in many countries, I see the cultures, not as a tourist, but I've been in them, and they're not equal. We certainly aren't equal. And we happen to have the best culture, which is why everyone's trying to get here. But the very thing of getting here will bring with it the destruction of the very culture. And it's almost like the end of the Egyptian Empire, end of the Roman Empire. It's just watching it in slow motion. Oh, faster than slow motion.
It's like Andy said here, like, how can any religion allow the stoning, whipping, and honor killings of females? Like, how? It is so barbaric, and the females are mistreated. I've seen it like firsthand, and I've had experience of it myself. So I totally understand. Sort of what happens, but how is it that it's still happening?
Well, because we have to lie. We have to do a big lie. The government has to do the big lie. And it's 1984. Don't believe the evidence of your own eyes. Yes, you must not do that. You must exactly follow what the party says. And that's what we have. We have it on every subject almost. We have it on almost every subject now.
Yeah.
The big ones, of course, are immigration and this, and so on. So we have it. And we're watching cities being taken over with a block vote. But that's all been planned out. It's all there. It's exactly like Hitler did in the Second World War. He had Mein Kampf. All you had to do was read the book, and Russia was going to be attacked. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Exactly
he laid
that.
it all out. He didn't change. In fairness to him, he did not change what he was. But he was a terrible, terrible person.
So here we've got somebody saying the government are bowing down to certain demographics. Now, my question is, why? Why are they bowing down to a certain demographic?
Because they're part of the problem. If you look at the people in the government, half of the cabinet really belong to the Fabian Society, yes, and so on. So that's got as an emblem a wolf in sheep's clothing over it, etc., which is slow communism bit by bit. So these people are globalists, and they allow our country, and this is really fundamental to Advance UK, they allow our country to be controlled from both outside bodies, from the IPCC with climate change or the World Health Organization and everything, blah, blah, blah. They allow all that control and the human rights, all of that from outside to control us. We don't have a say in it. It's controlled. Also internally, there are so many quangos doing that who are not democratically live, and we as a party have got to get rid of a huge amount of this. And in doing that, save a lot of money, actually, that'll pay for our changes to get the economy going again. But before that happens, there's going to be an economic crash. But that's just my opinion.
Brilliant, Paul. Well, our producer's just waving at us because our hour is up. She's like, Brantley's, it's up, it's up. Miss D, thank you very much for reminding us, because we can go on forever, can't we?
We could.
Yeah, so there's one thing we want to do with guests today. We want to ask them a final question. So what was it? What was the question? Can you remember?
If you can meet anybody.
Yeah, ask Paul.
If you can meet anybody, dead or alive.
Was that the question?
Oh, no. I want to know who would like to meet dead or alive.
Go on then.
Who would you want to spend time with?
Right. It would be, in my case, I've got a very simple reason. I've always had, I was born towards the end of the Second World War in 1945. And I've always, and I studied the Second World War and the other wars, I'd always want to ask Winston Churchill a question. And the question would be, I believe Winston Churchill actually encouraged the Blitz. I actually think when the accidental bombing of London was done by a German bomber by accident, and we then bombed Germany the next day, straight away almost, or the next few days, I believe he knew that would cause the Blitz and would divert the almost winning situation in the air war with the fighters and all that, that would divert the attention over to London, but it would win the war. So I think I'd say, be honest now, did you cause the Blitz? And I think he did. And I would understand why, by the way.
Brilliant. That's a great answer, Paul. Fantastic. I mean, who would you bring back from the dead and why? Have you thought about that?
I haven't really. Actually, can I tell you?
Go on.
Mine is just so obscure.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
King Henry VIII.
What?
I know, right? He's just a bit of a weird man.
Off with their heads.
Yeah, but I want to get inside his head. I want to kind of get to
inside
understand.
His head?
Yeah. Not off with his head. I want to...
I'm sorry. That's
inside his head, because I need to understand exactly what was honestly going through that mad mind, and the fact that he changed the Bible, the fact that he allowed divorce, the fact that there was a whole host of things that I just want to understand him.
I think we should have an after show on that. I think we really should discuss that. Maybe the wives he had were going through menopause. So because any man that's been with a woman that's got menopause knows it's challenging. It's challenging.
Menopause is challenging for us women, so I might do a podcast.
Get menopause in? Can we get it?
No, you can't actually get menopause.
But it's called
itself. It's men on pause. It means you are redundant, mate.
Is that it?
Men on pause.
Is that what it is? We need to discuss that. Paul, listen, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on. Thank you ever so much for joining us. And we will definitely get you back on again. And for those of you watching, please follow Paul on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel. Paul, do you want to give yourself a plug here? Where can people find you?
If you just go YouTube, Paul Burgess, Climate Realism. My channel is called Climate Realism.
Fantastic.
And actually, fact, after you do YouTube, you just put a forward and ampersand Climate Realism. It goes straight to it.
Perfect.
So I'm heading towards 300 videos on it. Right.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you so much. It's been absolutely wonderful seeing everybody on here, and it's our first live.
And Paul,
so thank you for joining us.
We're going to carry on the show, actually, because I want to ask you a couple of questions after this, because we're going to digest a lot of what Paul has said, and we're going to be right back. So, Paul, thank you ever so much for coming on, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was great, wasn't it? Wasn't Paul great?
I love Paul.
He's great.
You know, the way he says a thing is he's so intelligent, and yet, like, he says it in such a way that is easy to pick up.
Have you noticed when we've been traveling through Wales to the meet and greets, when we've been meeting members from Advanced UK, Paul's been there, and people love him, don't they?
They do.
He's just like, you could sit, you know, at his feet.
Do you know when you have like this granddad? I'm not calling him my granddad, but no, hang on. You're saying yes, he is. I haven't even finished. You know, listen, when my menopause is kicking in. When you are totally in awe of somebody, you literally just want to sit at your granddad's feet, hear their stories, and it's just so beautiful. He reminds me of that. I just want to hear everything he has to say, and I want to digest it, but I don't feel like I'm as intelligent as he said a lot. Take it all in. I'm like,
just go like, nod.
No, I don't just nod. I try and process it because I respect the fact that he has taken time to learn and then actually share that with us.
He's a highly intelligent man, but he's very humble with it.
Do you know what I love about him?
Good
he's
quality.
Really humble, but he's really gentle and really kind.
Yes. Now, before we came on air, right, you said to me, right, before we came into the studios, you said to me, we need to talk about menopause.
Yeah, but I didn't mean now.
Didn't you?
No.
I thought you meant no.
No.
Are you having a hot flush? Are you having a hot flush?
No, I think you are getting it wrong. I said that I feel that us women are not really made aware of what actually happens during menopause. Well, let me tell you, these hot flushes when they were coming, gee whiz, I had no flipping clue what was going on. And now it's like the bed sweats.
So we should do a poll on our YouTube channel then.
We need to do something.
So should we or shouldn't we do a show on menopause?
Yeah, because I think men need to realise actually how to handle a woman who is menopausal. And I'm probably the best person to talk about it because I understand what I'm like. And I'm also quite in tune with what's happening within me. So I can tell you if I'm being a complete twat, you know, it's no problem.
Do you know what? You got through the whole show without swearing.
It's because Paul was on. And Paul I respect Paul so much.
You did great, Joe.
Andy, when he speaks, he makes everything easy to follow and to understand. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Taffy's put, do you live in a majority Muslim area? I used to, but not now.
Yeah, but lots of cities, villages and towns, it seems that that's been the case now. We're seeing it constantly. I mean, your news feed, I mean, if you're not following mainstream media, just alternative media, constantly you're getting, you know, we get to see what's happening around the country. In fact, we were going to be celebrating Remembrance Sunday tomorrow, and we're going to be paying our respects as well. So we just want to say actually this evening, thank you to all those who have served our country.
Thank you.
For those who obviously gave so much. And we will never, ever forget. It's very important we remember. And I think we're living in a generation now where one of the things you raised earlier, Rogue, was about how people are almost afraid to show their kind of, their remembering of those who gave their lives because it might offend people. To hell with that. I mean, who cares if it offends people? You know, my grandfather served in the Second World War. He was railing sleepers for trains, you know, when they built the tracks. He was stationed in Malta, and he, you know, I remember him telling me quite incredible stories that he didn't like to tell. I had to force them out of him. And I'm sure some of our viewers have got, you know, loved ones that they know, relations, and even people we know as friends. Dave Connell, one of our friends, you know, he's people who served and gave their lives. You know, these are people that sometimes get forgotten in the midst of the political world, but we will never forget them, and we will always pay respect, won't we?
Absolutely. And every time we see somebody, it's just that taking that 2 minutes just to say thank you for your service, recognizing them, because, you know, a lot of people actually suffer with PTSD and a lot of people feel forgotten. And in that feeling forgotten, you feel very isolated. And it's just so important that we recognize these people for what they did for us. you know, for the freedoms that we have had. Unfortunately, we are seeing what we're seeing now, and unfortunately, they are seeing what we're seeing now. But we have to come together as a collective, and that is so important that we stand together, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Just for you to know as well, we're on all the other social media platforms. We're on X, so if you go to X, which is formerly Twitter, it's at Land Sinners, and we're also on TikTok. What's our TikTok channel? I can't remember the name of it.
It's at Land of Saints and Sinners.
At Land Saints and Sinners. We'll put this in the description here on YouTube. You might notice the StreamYard thing up there, wherever that is there. The reason for that is because it costs £60 a month for this thing, so we're not paying that. So just to let you know, we are not paid to do this. We do it because we love it and we're passionate about it. But if you'd like to support us, please drop us a message on here. We'd really welcome it, really appreciate it. And we're going to be back next week, I gather. But
we are.
What are we doing next week? Are we going to? We're not doing the. What are we doing next week? Do you know?
We're going to get a guest on.
Are we going to have a guest on? Are we?
We are going to get a guest.
Who is it? Is it a secret?
It is a massive secret. Hush, hush.
Yeah. Well, look, you know, we were talking about net zero tonight and about going green. Paul was wearing a green shirt. I'm wearing a green jacket. You're wearing a green top.
I know. Look at that.
It's the green-eyed monster, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm Hulk, actually, with my menopause. Maybe this is just my little green Hulk moment.
You But I have to say, you did exceptionally well tonight. You did exceptionally well tonight. You didn't swear at all. I didn't mention a certain person's name, or did I?
No. If you did say his name, then that would
Don't say his name, no. No, I won't say that.
We don't say his name.
But we want to just talk about some stuff happened today. Sheffield, there's things going on in Sheffield today. Oh, what about that mayor who wanted to turn off the Christmas lights? What was that about? Yeah. That really peed you off, didn't it? That peed you off, didn't it?
Really angered me. So we have yet again the MP and councillor of Sheffield who has decided that he does not want to turn on the Christmas lights. Now, the question is why? He's citing that it is actually due to health risks and health concerns and health and safety. This is absolute chatter.
That's another new swear word you've come up with. What did you do the other night? You did Burke earlier today. You did.
I did Burke.
What's the other one?
Weird. Do you remember like the words Pratt and Burke?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Hijibi. What was it? Hijibi.
EBGBs. Oh, he gives me the EBGBs.
Yeah. Are these all new kind of like replacement swear words? Are they?
Yeah, because I think I got a slight telling off from a certain person about swearing.
Well, the thing is, look, people swear day to day.
I love swearing. Let me explain why.
Yeah, go on.
Right. So I grew up in the church.
Yeah.
And as I grew up in the church, we just weren't allowed to swear. So the whole I wasn't even allowed to say that.
You couldn't say.
Can I just say what I wasn't allowed to say? I wasn't allowed to say the word fart. I wasn't allowed to even say the word poo.
Where are we going with this? You never know where these shows are going to go, you know.
We had to say like I'm joking, right? We had to say the word My parents would not allow us to say the word cow or prat. We just weren't allowed to swear. So I was so contained, and I was literally at school, and I was getting bullied for not actually being able to say any of these words. It was like, I need an miss. Like, what the? You just can't write this stuff.
Yeah, Jesus, give me strength.
No, it was literally because of Jesus.
Yeah, right,
my family were so confused.
Jesus swore, didn't he?
He did. He called the Pharisees a brood of vipers, which in real term is basically called a load of wankers.
Yeah. Yay. Yeah, she's done it. I
swore.
Yeah. What a load of bollocks. Yeah, absolutely. What's that? I just call people.
Get back to why I swear.
Yeah. Go on. Just read in the comments.
So basically, I was so fed up of kind of getting bullied at school for not swearing and being really polite and saying everything. And my one friend said to me, she said, listen, Rogue, what you need to do is open that mouth and just allow these swear words to come out.
Tolerant.
So I looked at her and I thought, I can't do that. That's really, really naughty. And actually, I don't want to offend anybody or offend God. She said, just do it. So as I did, I just went, shit, tip, like bollocks. And it all fell out and it felt good.
Like Tourette's.
And so now I actually have Tourette's, I think, with swearing.
Oh, yeah.
And I love swearing because
it
just gives this absolute freedom of expression, and I don't have to find all the right words.
It's one of the beauties of the English language, isn't it?
It is.
The ability to do that. I mean, do you think swearing is good for you? I think there's a release in it when you kind of when you've had enough, when you've had a titful, as they say, or you've had Well, that's something I would say. I've had a titful now. Is it? Is
It's
that appropriate or not? Is it? Come on.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, let's go back to
Anyway.
the Sheffield and the lights.
Okay.
The reason why I swore is because he really pissed me off. And the premise of that is he is just trying to infiltrate our Christmas festival.
Mm-hmm.
This bullshit, this bollocks, absolute bollocks. Sorry. Have you gone grey because you live with a menopausal woman? He doesn't live
No,
with
I don't
me.
live with her.
So-
I put up with her, but I don't live with her.
No, we do this together, but he does not live with me. So that is absolutely not.
Just on a
even-
weekend when I go to the studio.
It's not even living.
I know, I'm not going grey anyway, am I? Did you say I'm going grey?
Anyway, back to the lights.
What?
This is ADHD heaven.
This is great.
Yeah, it is grey.
I'm listening
But
to you, Tom.
I've gone a bit grey as well, and that's just because I'm having to deal with you.
Mm.
Anyway, so the lights, it is an infiltration.
Mm-hmm.
It is our festivals. I don't know if you saw, there was something earlier in Germany. There was a Christmas market,
Yes.
and there was a march,
Pro-Palestinian.
and pro-Palestinian march, and there were thousands of people
Mm.
marching through, and it's intimidation tactics.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing about our festivals and our Christmas, like Easter. What was it? Winter Festival.
Yeah, Winterfest. and they-
Depsy,
Misty, this is our researcher over here
Was
in the
it-
corner.
it was
Producer.
winter festivals.
That's what Tommy Robinson was trying to.
Yeah, so Tommy Robinson was trying to highlight it. It's Christmas.
Yeah.
We can't remove Christ from the mass, but because everybody doesn't want to offend,
Jesus
We're
in a
ha-
manger and all that.
exactly, we're having to step on broken glass in making sure that we don't upset anybody. But no, this is my fucking country.
Amen.
I meant that.
Yeah, I know you did. Well,
Listen, I meant that.
I know. And the thing is, people are giving up too easily. The government is spineless. Keir Starmer is the most spineless, arrogant, pathological, lying prime
Wanker.
minister that's a kind word to put it.
Wanker.
That I've ever known. I mean, Tony Blair takes some beating, but man, this guy, I mean, look, he has ruined the country. And the thing is, how does he sleep at night? He must know that he's screwed things up. He must know he's on his way to a defeat at the next general election. He's got to know. I mean, if he doesn't, he must be blind. I mean, I just don't understand
He
why.
thinks he's staying in for 10 years, right?
That's the
So
plan. isn't it?
why does he think he's staying in for 10 years? Why is he that arrogant that he actually believes that he has the term of a decade? Now, it's because he has the backing of the WEF and the WHO.
Yeah.
And so with that, he's going to have this confident
yeah.
assurance. But we as the people don't want him in. How is he still in? But then in fairness, if he was out, who would take over? And this is part of the issue.
Well, that's the big problem, because when you replace a government with something better or worse, we don't know what we're going to get, because a lot of people are believing that Farage is the Messiah, Reform is the savior, and all of a sudden it's going to fix all the problems. But if you look at Reform, they're great at winning elections, locally with local elections, doing well in the polls, but we're 4 years away. A lot can happen in 4 years. A lot of scandals can happen in 4 years. Anything can happen in 4 years. It's easy to shout from the sidelines about we need to do this, we need that. But when you get into power and you have to govern, it's a completely different thing. And we've seen local election councillors elected locally that are now resigning, and Kent Council, I think it is, all across the country where people were elected, because most of them are teenagers. Some of them know what the OBR is. They think it's a computer game, They don't know it's also budget responsibility. No. So and they're being given multi-million-pound budgets to look after things in their area, in the council, and they don't know what they're doing. So I remember with Reform, they were pulling people out of pubs. Can you stand for us as a candidate? Pay £100, stand as a candidate.
That's
What?
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
He's just pulling anybody off the street.
Yeah,
It could be
literally.
anybody.
Yeah,
So what
absolutely.
checks are they doing?
Hardly any, but I think they become more stringent now. But they're not, and I think what we've got with Advanced UK is slightly a bit different. So, and we've been shouted at by
Slightly
a
bit.
producer. Is our producer shouting at us?
Yeah, she's telling us to get
She's
off.
telling us to get off. We're waffling apparently. Oh, hang on.
Jeez, what have I done?
Good, that's it.
Oh, there we go. We are
Her and
actually.
technology. When she gets messing with the computer, it's done.
We're going to go over to TikTok and do a live on TikTok.
Are we doing a
now.
TikTok live? Are we?
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
We're going to go
okay.
over there.
Well,
We have to separate.
yeah,
between-
unfortunately, we can't do the YouTube as well. But thank you ever so much for tuning in to this live tonight, Saturday Night Live with me, Richie, and the wonderful. And we look forward to seeing you the same time, same place. Hopefully, all things permitting, and God willing, we'll be back next week, right here, 8 p.m. Saturday Night Live.
I was going to say, Ray, get in touch.
Ray,
I
get in
want to
touch.
talk to you, and I want you on here soon.
Mhm.
Ray, I want you on.
I think we're going to say we need an outro. We need an outro.
Can we
don't
make our own up?
Yeah, should we make our own?
Do 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 do. Ooh,
Bye for now.
See ya.
Ciao.
Love you guys. Bye, Andy. Thank you.